You know those things you just kind of know are true about psychology? Well, what if they aren't? Today, we're taking a hammer to some of the biggest, most popular myths out there. Let's get into it. Okay, let's start with maybe the most famous one of all. You've heard it a million times, right? In movies, from motivational speakers, this idea that we've got all this untapped potential just sitting there. But is it actually true? And believe me, that 10% myth, that is just scratching the surface. Popular psychology is, well, it's kind of like a minefield. There's some real gold in there, but it's mixed in with a lot of stuff that's just plain wrong. So today, we're going to sort through it all. We're busting 15 of the biggest myths out there. All right, first up, let's talk about the machine itself, the myths surrounding our brains and our bodies. Okay, so let's put this one to bed for good. The 10% myth, it is 100% fiction. I mean, think about it. Brain scans show activity lighting up all over the place, even when you're just chilling out. Plus, our brain is an energy-guzzling monster. It uses up a huge chunk of our body's resources. Evolution is way too efficient to let 90% of that go to waste. The reality is, you're using the whole thing. Oh yeah, this one is a classic from spy movies, right? Hidden messages flashing on screen, forcing you to buy something. And look, it's true that our brains are constantly processing stuff in the background, totally outside of our awareness. But, and this is a big but, there is zero good evidence that some hidden message can make you do something complex like buy a specific product. It's just not how our brains work. You know, this one feels like it should be true. It's like nature's way of balancing the scales. If you lose one sense, the others get a power-up. But the science just doesn't back that up. There's no proof that a blind person's ears are biologically better. What really happens is they get incredibly good at paying attention to the information from their other senses. It's more like a software update than a hardware upgrade. Come on, we've all heard this one, right? Probably from our parents yelling across the room, "Turn on a light, you'll ruin your eyes." Well, you can tell them the good news. Reading in dim light might give you a temporary headache or make your eyes feel tired, for sure. But ruin them permanently? Nope. There's just no evidence for it. Okay, this is a really important one, and movies are a big reason we get it wrong. A coma is nothing like being in a deep sleep. It's a state of profound unconsciousness, where brain activity is dramatically different and way, way lower than any stage of sleep. You can't just be woken up. And, this confusion about what's happening in the brain is the perfect way to move into our next section. Let's get into the really personal stuff, the myths about our minds and our personalities. The classic midlife crisis. We all know the stereotype. The convertible, the sudden urge to go skydiving. It's a huge movie trope. But when you look at the actual data from big studies, you find out it's mostly a myth. For a lot of people, their 40s and 50s are actually a time of feeling more in control and happier than ever. Not so much a crisis, more like a midlife contentment. This one is wild. We like to think our memory is like a video camera, right? You just hit play and there's the past, exactly as it happened. But it's not like that at all. Memory is more like telling a story. Every time you remember something, you're actually rebuilding it from scratch, and little details can change. That's how we end up with memory illusions, memories that feel 100% real but never actually happened. Okay, this one can be a little controversial. And let me be clear, parenting is hugely important. It shapes a kid's values, their happiness, all of that. But when we're talking about their core personality as an adult, are they an introvert? Are they agreeable? The research on twins is pretty stunning. The home they grew up in has a lot less impact than their genes. Genes play a much, much bigger role in shaping who you are at your core.
Oh man, the whole learning styles thing. I'm a visual learner. I'm an auditory learner. It's a huge business, and it sounds so good, doesn't it? The idea that if we just tailor the teaching, anyone can learn anything. But here's the kicker. Despite how popular it is, there's virtually no solid scientific evidence that matching teaching to a so-called learning style makes any difference at all. We've all heard this one. People who are aggressive are just covering up for low self-esteem. It sounds right, but the research actually shows the opposite. Aggression isn't linked to low self-esteem. It's linked to high self-esteem, but the kind that's really unstable and fragile. Think narcissism. When someone like that feels their ego is under attack, that's when they lash out. Okay, for our last round of myths, we're going social. Let's talk about how we act around other people. Every romantic comedy is built on this idea, right?
opposites attract. But in the real world, it's just not true. Sure, opposites might have a fun, short-term thing, but when it comes to long-lasting relationships, the research is crystal clear. We are overwhelmingly attracted to people who are similar to us. Shared values, shared interests, that's what really works. This one is genuinely scary, but so important to understand. We all think there's safety in numbers. If you're in trouble, you want to crowd around, right? Wrong. It's called the bystander effect. Basically, two things happen. First, everyone looks at everyone else, and if nobody's panicking, you think, oh, I guess it's not a big deal. Second, everyone assumes someone else will make the call or step in. The more people there are, the less responsible any single person feels. Gotta love the idea of venting, right? Just punch a pillow, scream into the void, and get all that anger out of your system. It feels like it should work, but the research shows it's a terrible idea. Acting out your anger doesn't get rid of it. It's more like practicing being angry. It actually reinforces the feeling and can make you even more aggressive. Every crime show has one of these, but let's be real, the polygraph is not a lie detector. It's an anxiety detector. All it does is measure things like your heart rate and how much you're sweating. The problem? An honest person who's super nervous can fail, and a cool, calm liar can pass with flying colors. That's exactly why they aren't allowed as evidence in most courtrooms. It's so easy to look at people who've joined a cult and just think, well, they must be mentally ill. It's a comforting thought because it means it could never happen to us. But the research shows something very different. The vast majority of people who join cults are psychologically normal. They get drawn in by incredibly powerful social pressures and persuasion tactics that under the right conditions could work on almost anyone. Okay, so we've just torn down 15 pretty big myths, but that brings up a really interesting question. Why did we believe them in the first place? What makes these ideas so sticky? A huge part of it comes down to a mental shortcut our brain loves to take. It's this idea that like goes with like. It just feels right to us that an ugly behavior, like aggression, must come from an ugly feeling, like low self-esteem, or that letting out anger should make it go away. Our brain loves these simple stories, and it makes these myths feel super intuitive, even when they're totally wrong. And that's the real challenge, isn't it? Mark Twain put it perfectly. The hard part isn't just learning new things, it's unlearning all the stuff you were sure was true, but just isn't. And look, this stuff really matters. These myths aren't just fun facts. They affect how we think about ourselves, how we raise our kids, even how our society works. Busting these myths helps us see the world and each other a little more clearly. So now that you know how many of these things are out there, I'll leave you with one final thought. What's the next common sense idea you're going to challenge? Thanks for tuning in.